You're listening to the Believe in Giants podcast with two-time Super Bowl winner Carl Banks and the voice of the Giants, Bob Papa.
Welcome you to another edition of Believe in Giants, presented by FanDuel. Bob Papa, two-time Super Bowl champion Carl Banks, and yes, a win. A win to talk about, Carl Banks.
Yeah.
And lots of things to cover here. Jaxson Dart gives him a spark, energy. Scatterboo does his thing. The defense, look, I think the defense against the Washington Commanders, Kansas City, and the Chargers have given them a chance to win those games. Has it been perfect? No, we'll get into it. But, Carl, they made a lot of good plays in this game, and they held a good Chargers team to 18 points.
Yeah, I think when you look at the effort that the defense put forth, it was I think the thing, Bob, that really made me feel great about watching this defense is that I kind of got the feeling, and this was Alumni Day, so my teammates, I talked to Pepper Johnson after the game, and Mark Collins and Perry Williams.
I saw Perry. I saw fourth and 17. Bobby Johnson.
Yeah, Bobby Johnson. But we all kind of felt the same way that this was Giants defense, right? It was the feeling you got. I was on the mic and I was just like, it seems like the defense is saying, go do what you can. We got it from here. Wherever you leave it, we got it. You never had a sense in the game that, oh boy, can the defense hold the rope, right? It was the offense did what they could. And every time the defense took the field, you just kind of I got the sense that they said, hey, we got it from here. Thank you. We got it from here. And that was Giant football. That was Giant defense. And listen, they weren't perfect by a long stretch, but the things they needed to be good at, they were pretty good at. There were opportunities the last couple of weeks for turnovers. They didn't come up with any. This week, there were 3 opportunities. They came up with 2. Both of those opportunities turned into scores for the Giants offense. So you took their best receiver, Keenan Allen. He had a pedestrian day. I don't know how many catches he had, but I think he had under 50 yards receiving, which is big.
5 catches, 37 yards.
Yeah, I mean he's their main guy. So Coach Burris on the back end of the defense and Marquand Manuel, they've done a really good job. The pressure that the defensive front got, it's a problem. It's a problem for teams because you can't double them all. And if you try to, you're going to take one less guy out of your offense to try to get them all blocked up. And you could see wherever the Chargers focused on stopping, the other guys just said, thank you very much. And when he got the quarterback, I think it was 20-something pressures on the quarterback in the game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, between Burns, Abdul Carter, and Thibodeau, they had officially, according to the stat sheet, the press box stat sheet, they had 12 hits on the quarterback between those 3 guys. I mean, that's not counting the pressures, the hurries, all those things. And, I know some people were saying, man, they're missing Becton. They have Alt playing the left side, then Alt got hurt. Hey, no one cared when the Giants were giving up sacks and pressures when Andrew Thomas got hurt and any other injuries the Giants have had. Yeah, you know what I'm happy about? They feasted on the weakness.
Yes, we would be as a group, as a fan base, lamenting the fact that the Giants played a weak offensive line and they couldn't get anything done against them. And listen, I'm gonna just kind of say this, and I'm gonna leave it where it is. Right? There are a lot of fans who they've kind of got the asterisks. Yeah, they did this, but, and all I can say to you is the team will have to win you over, right? I get it. You know, there's still some era of, yeah, I'm happy we won, but I hope for, you know, the sake of your fandom that this team can really get you all the way back in. And one win won't do it, right? But I just hope that you can see optimistically where this team can be. They put a rookie out there. He was poised. They had a rookie back out there. He impacted the game. They didn't want to tackle Scatterboo. And even, Motor Singletary even played with some juice. After a while, he started to feel it. This offensive line, we'll focus on 2 or 3 plays by John Michael Schmitz. That doesn't sum up the game he had, right? We'll focus on 2 or 3 plays by Deonte Banks. One I have a problem with, right? But that doesn't sum up the game they had.
I got a problem with 2 of them.
Okay.
I got a problem with the end
I
of the half.
I got an answer for one of those.
All right, the end of the half one?
I actually sat with the coach.
All right, well,
the defensive coach. We'll talk about that.
Here's the one I had here's the one of the 2 I had a problem with. And again, no one's perfect, and you are playing against an undefeated team that's really good. Yeah. So it's not going to be you're not going to throw a shutout against they are going to make plays. I did not like on the 3rd and 19 his angle of attack when Justin Herbert scrambled and he was kind of passive and flat-footed because they were in the right coverage. They had people looking back at Herbert, and he allowed Herbert to get outside of him. Now, is that the play that you got an answer for?
Well, no. That one
I didn't like that play.
Blatantly bad, right? Now
educate us on the other one because you got intel on the other one.
Hold on. Before I get there, let's talk about the tackling on this team. I talked about Tyler Nubin taking bad angles and missing tackles, right? Deonte Banks on that particular play took a bad angle. Again, this is for informational purposes only, fans. So I'm not trying to tell you how to look at something or school you on how you should feel. For informational purposes, if you're evaluating a player and whether or not he can tackle, look and see if he's willing. Deonte Banks didn't turn the opportunity down. I've yet to see Tyler Nubin make a business decision. So these are what I'm saying to you is if you've got guys who are willing to go in there, take on the contact and make a tackle, fixing the angles is the easiest part about it. Guys who don't want to tackle and they go in there and they give you a half effort or they make what we call the business decisions, then you got a problem on your defense. I have yet to see in all the bad tackling that has occurred or missed tackles, I haven't seen a guy turn one down yet. That's a big improvement. That's a mentality, right? So if Coach Burrs is in the meeting room with Deonte Banks and he's saying, okay, look, you're our outside defender. Whatever you do, take on the block with your inside shoulder, keeping your outside arm free. We can help you there. But once you jump inside the block, there's nobody else outside of you. That's a coaching point. Should he know these things? Of course. In the heat of the moment, this is part of their growth process. Let's see if it repeats next week, right? Let's see if because I saw all the angles looking much better yesterday. Tyler Nubin missed one tackle. It happened, but he was a pretty sure tackler in the game. And that's the impressive part about these kids is like, you don't have these wusses out there who won't go in there and engage. That's when you have a poor tackling team. You have poor fundamentals when you're missing a lot of tackles, but you got a lot of guys to the football. But a poor tackling team is a poor mentality, and that means they're weak and they don't want to engage. This is a group. They fly to the ball, they miss tackles. Fix it. That's not an excuse, but I think it's fixable when you can see guys willing to go in there and mix it up. That's all I'm saying.
All right, so now give me you had a chance to you have inside intel on the other play that everyone's going to be talking about as far as Banks is concerned. The end of the first half, you kind of have the game in control, a little double move, 36-yard touchdown, and suddenly a 10-point lead is 3, and it feels like, my God, how does this happen at the end of the half?
Well, I can tell you how it happened. Okay, I'm going to preface this again, folks. Dane Belton is a willing player. He's not a dumb player. He has limitations. He can overcome his limitations with tweaks. Just like at the end of the Dallas game where I said, linebacker opened the wrong way. Dane Belton has over-the-top help on that play that happened on Deonte Banks. When there is defined over-the-top help, your corner can be a little more aggressive. So he wanted to jump down on that double move. He gave a double move, but he knew that if he got beat, his help is waiting over the top. I know a lot of people are going to break this play down, and as you guys look at your favorite film breaker downers, take a look at where Belton lines up pre-snap, because I think a lot of people.
I got it on the coaches. I got it on the coaches tape. I'm watching it right now.
So,
all right, so keep talking about
Dane Belton should be lined up on the hash. He's not on the hash. He's inside the hash. He's a little cute by half, right? You don't have to disguise. When you are not the most gifted in terms of athleticism, do yourself a favor. Line up where you're supposed to be. It really doesn't matter if the opponent knows that you're lined up and you're over the top help. That actually is what you want them to think. You want them to see that, because that discourages that play. But if you line up on the hash, outside hash.
Carl, I'm looking at it right now. He lines up basically on the left hash. I mean, he's maybe a half a step to the outside of the hash, but like he's not cheating over by any stretch of the imagination.
So how many steps did he miss that breaking up that play by? A half a step, right?
So I'm just watching. He backpedals.
No, I can tell you, we saw the play. Wherever he lined up, that was the half a step that he could have made the play and made the interception.
And he took a bad angle. He took a little bit of a bad angle. He took it as he broke to the outside. I'm just looking at it here. He flattened. I think if he that half step you just talked about, and then if he's one more step, he breaks the play up, even with maybe not the best angle. Yeah. He
intercepts the football. He took an angle to intercept the football, but he's a half step too short. So as folks look at this, like I said, your favorite film breaker downers, they may miss it. But it starts with the safety's alignment. When it's predefined that your corner is going to have help over the top, what most people saw is that Deonte Banks broke on a double move. And I know he's everyone's favorite, whipping board when, and justifiably in some cases. This wasn't really it. Could he have played it a little bit better? Yeah. But the reality is He broke on a hard double move. He had the luxury of doing so because his safety help was over the top, and the safety didn't get there over the top. If the safety is aligned where he should be, he makes that play. He breaks it up or he intercepts it. And
Right.
so
and at
go
that point in the game, Holland was questionable to return with a neck injury.
ahead.
That's normally Holland's ball, or that's
Yeah.
normally Holland's play. He's got more range.
Right. So as far as Dane Belton is concerned, you have limitations. Don't let them become a handicap. Your limitations are not that you can't play football, or not that you're not physical, or not that you're not a quality NFL safety. But when you know that you have to be somewhere, help yourself out. Help yourself, help your defense. Line up in your alignment. And some of these things, Bob, for players are psychological, where they say, "Oh, I'm gonna bait the quarterback," and baiting the quarterback. It was just like what I talked about with Brian Burns in the Dallas game when he took the inside. He was fatigued, right? He took it inside and they ran around him. Sometimes the best disguise is the obvious. Line up where you're supposed to be. If you line up where you're supposed to be, they're going to be foolish enough to still throw it. You're going to get an interception or you're going to get a pass breakup. Because for Justin Herbert, what he saw was a double move on Deonte Banks. He's like, "Oh, shoot, I got it." He lets it go. But if you line up where you're supposed to be, you just literally baited the quarterback into a bad play or into an interception just by being where you're supposed to be, because the quarterback, his first read was when Deonte Banks went hard at that first move. He's like, "Oh, man, I'm going to just lay this up here. My guy's going to get it." If you're where you're supposed to be, you make a play. So,
yeah, you know what? Carl, you can see Justin Herbert when he sees Dane Belton lined up basically on the hash. He looks that's where he's going the entire way.
Mhm.
So you're right. If Belton cheats, because Nubin's got the other side covered
It's
up.
not even cheating. If you're over the top, you're going to have to be outside hack.
Right.
As simple as that. But these are things that when you win these types of games, it's a lot easier to fix, and it's a lot easier for the coaches to coach. When you lose, it's everything, right? But when you're winning and you're playing this level of a game, it's fixable. You can talk your players through taking better angles on tackling. And also, here's another play that, again, not going to lecture anybody here, but I'm just giving you something for informational purposes so that when your favorite film breaker downers put this up, you'll have a better understanding of how a successful play happened. The Giants gave up one big run. It was like the 35-yarder, I believe it was.
You mean the one to Hampton for 29?
Yeah.
Or the
29
54-yard run?
Wait, which one was the 54-yard run? Did that come around the Giants' right side?
No, that went off the left side. It looks like Muasau on that play.
No, it's the other one.
Yeah, it's the 31-yarder.
The 31-yard run.
29-yarder. I got it.
29, yes. The 29-yard run, for informational purposes, folks, they got the right defense for the right play, or they had the right play for the right defense. What does that mean? Yes, they could have probably minimized it a little bit, but it is, just so you guys know, it is hard to set the perimeter when you're playing one coverage or zero coverage. Everybody's locked up on a man, so you literally have to cheat your defensive ends out wide, because any motion, any movement, you get your edges sealed. So it's hard to set the edge when you're playing cover 1 or cover 0 because everybody has a man. It's man to man. You don't have literally don't have an extra defender. So the adjustment to that is that when you know you are going to be in a man coverage and there's a chance of a run, you've got to kick your ends out wider. And they may hit you on the inside run, but at least you're not going to give up the edge where there's nobody out there because everybody's running with their guy. So that's a coaching point. I don't even know if I'm sorry, somebody's going to hear it from this conversation here. But yeah, when you play cover 5 or cover 1, cover 0, any man coverages, it's hard to set the perimeter because you're just outmanned on the edges. So they had the right call for the right defense.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. When they
Now,
look back
safeties could have come up. Safeties could have come up and helped, and they didn't do a great job at that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, but when they look at the coaches' tape, because I got it from the end zone, Abdul Carter is going to be kicking himself because he is pursuing and he has an angle. Now, Hampton is first-round pick. He's fast. And Abdul Carter is probably going to kick himself for not laying out because he could have got hands on him and maybe hit his ankle or something and tripped him up, and he didn't. And when you look at it from the high end zone, it'll be a teaching point for him too. Like, dude, you had an angle here. Lay out. You might just get a piece of him. And he kind of just put his hand out, and he didn't dive for him. And then he goes up the sideline for – Hey, Carl, so I made this point last night on the radio postgame show. I think the most important play of this game, and I believe the guy that saved this game for the Giants was Andrew Thomas.
Yeah. Fumble, recovery.
Yeah, so the Giants, they give up that touchdown at the end of the half, so it's 13-10. And Dart fumbles the snap. The Giants are pinned deep. And Jaxson Dart fumbles the snap. If Andrew Thomas doesn't recover that ball and the Chargers start 1st and goal at the 1, they're probably scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And now suddenly a game filled with emotion and filled with positivity. The Giants would have trailed for the first time in the game 17-13. Instead, the ball's recovered by Andrew Thomas. Jamie Gillen hits a perfect 69-yard punt. The Giants cover it really well. They allow like a 10-yard return, but the net on that punt was still 58 yards. And 2 plays later, Herbert throws the interception that Drew Phillips gets after the pressure, returns it inside the 5, and the Giants score on the shovel pass to Theo Johnson. So rather than trailing 17-13, the Giants go for 2, and they're leading 21-10. To me, that Andrew Thomas saved the game because I believe that if the Chargers ever got the lead, especially with Nabers out of the game and Dart not able to run as much as he was running earlier, I think the Giants would have been in a world of trouble, and the stadium vibe would have completely changed if the Giants lost the lead.
Yeah,
I think
but
he literally saved the game.
But that is one of the reasons why I like what's happening with this team, because they're getting better each week, Bob, and you could feel the energy in the stadium. It felt like Giant Stadium, not MetLife. It felt like Giant Stadium. Their defense had them backed up, and they were making plays, and it just felt great. And I felt great for the Giants fan base to really experience that at home, because I know people walked in that building, not knowing what to expect, but probably saying, we're probably not going to win this game against a team like San Diego. But to every one of those guys' credit who played, Your special teams were outstanding. Your defense was outstanding. Your offense, they all complemented each other. And, I posted after the game just the name Shane Bowen. He did a hell of a job. And if we are still stuck on where you thought he was 2 weeks ago, then you're not paying attention. Because all the things that people were saying that he wouldn't do, they're too passive, they're not aggressive, they're all of that. They are all of that. And it's coming together. And people were saying, well, the defensive backfield is the weak link. Okay. Everybody's got one, right? Just because you have a weak area of your defense doesn't make it a bad area. They can make plays when the plays are there for them. So if you've invested on the front end of your defense and it's paying dividends, then it makes the back end of your defense that much better, right? No team has 22 all-stars. So you want guys like Dane Belton. When you're in the game, know your assignment. Don't cheat. Just do what you're asked to do. The play will come to you. What I like about Dane Belton is he's a willing tackler. He's a physical kid. He never turns down contact. He fits a defense that I would want him to be in. My coaching point to you, son, just line up where you need to be. We got away with it because we were playing so good, the rest of the unit. But if this situation comes up again in the corner, the corner can take the opportunity to jump a short route, be where you're supposed to be so that everybody looks good on the play. But I like, and granted, folks, this is one game, but this is where I saw this defense trending. And, people are entitled to feel like, I didn't know what I was talking about when I was, looking at things and saying, okay, this area can get better. I see this area improving. But what I see right now is a defensive unit that's a problem for offenses to game plan. I mean, listen, your only shot against this Giants defense is to stay on schedule and stay away from negative plays. And I can tell you, it's going to be hard to stay on schedule if the Giants tackle. If the Giants tackle, you're not going to stay on schedule. You're going to have negative plays. There were, I think, maybe 3 plays in that game where they had a guy either at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage that turned into positive yardage.
Right.
Make those plays. And the one is, I felt bad because you got, I don't know if it was a Debo or Holland that got taken for a rise on a was it 1 yard, 3rd and 1 or whatever it was, and the play ended up at 18 yards. And he makes the first contact. Kayvon Thibodeau almost knocks him off of the play. But I'm like, okay, dog pile. Like if you got a guy, if your smallest defender makes first contact, then he's counting on everybody else to come and clean this mess up.
Yeah,
right?
I think Thibodeau came in with one of those block tackles as opposed to just coming in and tackling.
Just go and clean the guy out. Right. So, you have those situations. But again, I haven't seen a defender on this Giants unit that has blatantly turned down contact. So all fixable stuff. And when you have a defensive front that can poise that can pose the problems that they can to an offense, you don't have enough players. If the Giants defensive front plays to their ability, you ain't got enough players to block them all.
No.
So you pick your poison. And if you think the Giants defensive backfield is the weak link, then you're going to see 2 interceptions again. And here's a team, Justin Herbert doesn't throw interceptions, right?
He hadn't had a 2-interception game since 2023.
Right. So you want to say, well, his offensive line were out. So they had the game plan for the Giants. Giants lost their wide receiver. Andrew Thomas was out. Nobody thought John Michael Schmidt was worth a darn. So it goes this way, folks. And don't make excuses for the success that your team had. If they took advantage of a weak link, that's what you're supposed to do. Because if they didn't, imagine the outrage. Oh, how can how can the LA Chargers, be without 3 offensive linemen and the Giants only got 1 hit on the quarterback or something like that? So I think it's important to embrace, the fact that your team took advantages of weaknesses and their opportunities. That it's a game of opportunity.
I'm happy for the fans, for the people that have been. Listen, I own 4 PSLs. I pay for my season tickets. I have since the stadium opened in section, in the lower bowl, so they weren't cheap. And I'm just happy that people got to leave happy. And I'm happy that people got to be engaged from the opening drive, right? Here's a rookie quarterback going on an 89-yard drive. His first drive, the Chargers hadn't given up a first quarter touchdown all season. Mm-hmm. They have had statistically the best scoring defense in the NFL under Jesse Minter and Jim Harbaugh since the start of 24. They're really good on third downs. They had the 3rd highest percentage of forced 3-and-outs, the whole deal. And the Giants took it to them. And every Giant fan left that stadium energized, fired up. And you know what? The players, hey, look, they got 24 hours. When they come in here tomorrow, this is Monday, when they come in on Tuesday, and a lot of players come in on their day off for treatment and film study or whatever. And when they come back to work on Wednesday, they'll table it. But like every fan gets to puff their chest out and not take any arrows and be proud of your team. And let's start with Jaxson Dart here, Carl. I mean, he got sacked 5 times in the game. I made the point during the broadcast. A couple of these sacks, if as he learns, won't happen. There was a couple of them where he just held the ball. There was one where he didn't see the pressure. The first one, 45, got him. But he'll learn from that stuff. And look, he had Malik on that sail route. I went back and I looked at it on the coach's tape on that 3rd down. That was one of those times where he really had less pressure than he thought he was getting. And if he was a little bit more poised at that moment, he's got Malik and Wandale on parallel routes. And the corner he doesn't know whether the sink
He's in conflict. Yeah, he's in conflict.
The safety's not there. But Jaxson Dart will learn from that.
Yeah, and what he will learn is that schematically, it put your players in the position that they needed to be in. You've just got to trust it and not go on your own instincts, but just see the play. Here's a bunch formation. Here's what we're going to get out of the bunch. It's going to be a cell. Here's the guy we're going to put in conflict. Trust that, right? And slow your process down. That's going to come because it did come later on in the game when they were in a similar bunch. And I don't know if it was Theo or Bellinger on the key first down.
Theo Johnson,
where Theo was supposed to keep running across. They talked about it. Coach talked about it in his post-game conference. And he says, look, we talked about it, and I told him, sit down. If if you get the same look, sit down and I'm going to find you. And so that part of it is coming. The communication, the in-game adjustments, quarterback to receiver is coming. So I'm happy that we got a chance to see this young man and knowing that the moment was not too big for him. There were a lot of, again, I don't want to insult anyone. So I'm going to say this, but you get what I'm saying. There were a lot of nanny attitudes out there. Like, oh, it's too soon. Oh, you don't want to put you put him out here too fast. It's professional football. The nanny mentality, you can't bubble wrap him. He was drafted in the first round. Football is a rapidly changing sport. It is a injury business, as the head coach said. He was one play away from being in there anyway. If he dresses, he has to be ready, right?
Right, because he was the number 2.
Right.
There was this nonsense talk about Jameis. Jameis has been number 3 the whole time.
Yeah, I never got that. And I think that was just, it is what it is. But that was some bullshit. And the people that were saying that because they heard from people in the building, they never heard from anybody in the building.
Yeah,
nobody, including Jameis.
Yeah.
Including Jameis.
Exactly.
Right? So, but that's the cycle we get into sometimes of negativity. And listen, folks, you got every right to be as upset with this team and the record that they have over the years. So we're not going to go there. But there's
you're 1-9
some,
in your last 10 home games, and
Yeah.
you're paying for parking, and you're paying for tickets, and
Yeah.
You're gonna be pissed. Who wouldn't be pissed? Again, I pay full boat for my seats.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not pleasant.
Same here.
My family's in the stands, and they're like, "Oh, again." So you got a week. You got a week to just be proud. I'm fired up.
Right. And they beat a very good team.
Undefeated team. An undefeated
team. An undefeated team who had just beat the team you lost to, the Kansas City Chiefs, who's another really good team, a contender. So
and they beat Denver.
Right. Another really good team.
Correct.
So
listen,
here's
you
what
scored.
I'll say.
They had given up less than 20 points since the start of 2024. 12 of the games since the start of 2024. So in 20 games, 12 of them teams have not even gotten to 20. You got to 21, and your defense helped by giving you short fields and everything else.
Yeah.
But you got to 21. There were no injuries on their defense.
Right.
You beat them.
Oh, and
you handled Derwin James, who's one of the best players in the league.
They didn't let him wreck the game. So if anything, folks, now let's just,
Yeah, I know Khalil Mack was out. I got that. Fair point.
Mack is
for someone
my age.
Yeah, I know he's still good though. But anyway, you won the game.
And he's not. I don't even know if he plays every down. And I'm not dissing Khalil Mack because I'm a fan. But let's just
there's no qualifiers on this win.
Right.
No qualifiers.
So enjoy it, but take a moment to see the possibilities. Right. Now you see what this defense can be, and it can be even better when you clean up some of the tackling stuff. Another scoring opportunity. The Giants were 2 for 5 in the red zone, touchdown and field goal deal. Wan'Dale Robinson,
you got to
on a
catch
broken play, hit him in the hands. Got to make that. That's money. They're throwing a bag of money at you. Grab it, squeeze it, hold it. Don't let anybody take it away from you.
That's not one where it's hitting his hands as the guy's trying to knock it out. That was in his hands, and then the guy knocked it out. That has to be tucked away and secured on an NFL level.
Yeah, that's a bag of money. Don't let somebody take the money out of your hands. So, lots of fun stuff. Lots of stuff that can be fixed, and that is fixable, depending on who your favorite film breaker downer is. At least you have some context from the plays that we just spoke about. And then listen, as people rightfully break down film and show deficiencies, you still have the one caveat that says, but we won, right? People can break down. Last week, they broke down why they lost. Here's the reason, here's the reason, here's the reason, here's the reason. This week, when they do that, you get a chance to say, but we won. And now you fix those things, then you start to stack another win on this one. Because I think the performance you saw, all the good you saw should be the norm. The bad you saw should be fixed because you made a lot of really good plays and you left a lot of plays on the field. There are fixes to the big run. When you know you're going to be in man and there's a possibility that the team's going to switch to a run, you've got to adjust your ends outside, knowing that the play that you're going to give up is going to be on the inside of your defense, not on the outside of your defense where everybody's running with their back turned.
Yeah, like on the 54-yard touchdown run, some people are probably going to say, well, Nubin took a bad angle. When I watched it on the 54-yard touchdown run, Muasau as the blocker's coming through, he takes the blocker on with his left shoulder, which gets him pushed to the inside, which stopped Okereke from kind of getting over to get him. Probably if Muasau takes one more step and takes the guy on with his right shoulder, it would have forced Hampton right back into Okereke.
And so these are the coaching points, Bob. But
people are probably going to say, oh, look at Newman, he took a bad angle. How about this? I don't think he took a bad angle. I think he just got out-athleted. Like, remember, Omario Hampton was the 22nd player taken overall. He was a stud at North Carolina. He's a really good explosive back who is a lot faster than you think based on his size. And I think he just got out-athlete. Like, he was hauling ass. But,
well, here's the thing. When you know that going into games, and I think this is going to be the next phase of how you coach against these types of players. You have a drill, and they call them run fit drills, open field run fits, right? So you can just take that one play where Muasau takes one angle that cuts off another player, right? Which leaves the next player one-on-one open field with a great athlete. As opposed to you take a different angle, Okereke's here and Nubin's here. Now you've got the runner bottled in, and now it's not his athleticism against one guy, it's his physicality against three. You've negated a player's athleticism when you take the right angles, especially open field tackling. If you can leverage the runner where you want him to be, you negate a lot of what he can do, right? You negate athleticism and you turn him into, okay, how physical are you going to be 1-on-3? But if you got a guy who takes a bad angle, who cuts off another guy, now this guy sees, I'm 1-on-1. It's a foot race. Let me see if he can catch me. I don't have to be physical anymore.
He's not catching you.
Right. So, but these are things that Coach Bourne has now got to walk through, right? These are your new points of emphasis. Now that you know you have guys, which I'm sure you already knew, guys that are willing to tackle. Now let's teach you how. And no, folks, this is not something they should already know. But let's talk about, because every runner is different. Every scheme is different. So you're going to talk about your rules, open field rules, based on coverage, based on what your force rules are. But open field, you need to be here, he needs to be here, you need to be here, and we're going to bottle the guy in. If it's 2-on-1, or if it's 1-on-1, if you're the inside guy and your help is outside, then leverage on inside out. or vice versa. So these are all things that they're going to have to teach to, and I expect to see them do that because when you don't have to worry about which guy is willing to go stick his shoulder pads in there and take on contact, it becomes easy to coach tackling, right? If you got guys who don't want to do that, then good luck, coaches, because now you got guys who don't have courage and they become weak links, and you just kind of hope they're not isolated.
Right, and even on that play, it's not like Muasau turned down the contact. He just needed to do it a little bit better so that Okereke doesn't get picked off.
Correct.
But these are all teaching points, and again, you learn from it, you improve on it, and you learn, and it's a lot better to learn from it on a win. And again, get to pump your chest out. If you're one of the Giant fans that are Mets fans, you can kind of say, all right, we beat the Chargers, and you can kind of wrap in that. If you're a Giant Yankees fan, now you're nervous about the Red Sox series coming up, but you got your Giant, and you know what? You could wear your colors. You can wear your Giant gear and be happy. Like you beat an undefeated team. There were 6 teams undefeated going into the weekend.
Yep.
There are 2 left, and your team. No, and your team is one of the reasons why the Chargers are no longer undefeated, and they played a heck of a game. Jaxson Dart with a spark. He better learn how to slide a little bit, and never, ever, ever, ever in what was a stiff arm sort of try to bat the defender away. Remember, you use your right hand to throw the ball. You cannot be slapping helmets in the effort to try to get extra yards.
Okay? That's correct. And we saw last night one of the most gifted quarterbacks sidelined with a hamstring injury. So be smart.
And prayers up for Malik Nabers. This is a big blow. You and I will get into it in our preview podcast when we get ready for the Saints game. How do you make up for that? There's no such thing as next man up when you're talking about Malik Nabers. It's now got to be a collective.
It's everybody in now. And then the question, I guess, is, because the Giants had some depth at wide receiver in camp, is it enough of a collective if you're bringing another guy up that was in your camp? Or is there someone outside that may bring you a little more? And
well, who every Giants fan is clamoring for, right?
Well, yeah, and listen, prior to Malik going down, you probably wouldn't have a conversation about it. But Malik is down. There is a unique skill set, and I don't want to go either way on this, but the situation is different. And, I don't know. Maybe they do consider Odell Beckham.
Well, the only thing is, unlike a couple of years ago when he was looking for a gig, he would have to come in and work out. It would have. I don't care if it was at 10 o'clock at night in the field house when no one's around and knows, but there's no way that they would even show any interest. Like, he's past the point of, now I'm not coming to work out for teams. You either sign me.
And and you know what? But we haven't even heard that he does not want to work out. That's what he loves. Let me just say this, and I say this lovingly. Odell Beckham is a peacock. He loves showing his skills. He loves nothing more than showing his skills because he's so competitive. He if someone's writing him off and saying he's not good enough anymore, and if he's determined to play football, he gets the opportunity. That peacock will, he'll show his feathers. I don't worry about him saying he doesn't want to work out right now. I think if it's a team that he wants to be a part of, or the right team calls him, he'll show up at 4 a.m. if you ask him to, and he'll be ready to go. But that's way ahead, and I'm not advocating either way. but I think, situationally, is he better than, some of the guys you had in camp? I don't know. But he could help a guy like Jaxson Dart. And, Odell says all the right things. He knows he's not the same player. He just wants to be able to help a team, so he says. So, listen, he understands this game. He knows it. Could be a fitting closure to his career. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they'll be, I'm sure right now upstairs somewhere, they're diving through all this stuff, and they're going to figure out what they're going to do as far as trying to help supplement that room. But anyway, Carl.
Yeah. Well, so one more thing, and I said I wasn't going to talk too much about Odell, but you get excited talking about him. He brings you a veteran presence also. You got Slayton, you've got Wandale. He gives you also
this is a
little more
different
maturity.
Presence.
Yeah, he gives you a little more maturity, and it's different. So I'm not advocating, but I would not hate it if they signed him.
Well, he's bringing you a veteran presence with a guy that's been there, done that, like at the highest of levels. So yeah, we'll see what they do. Who knows? But it's exciting. Wear your colors, enjoy it. All the people that have been giving you crap for the last, basically the last 5 years, with the exception of 22. You know what? You got a chance to be proud this week, and
it's one in a row, folks. It's one in a row, but it gives you an opportunity to raise your expectations now.
Correct,
and that's okay.
You know what? We talked about losing to a team in your weight class. Your first game and your third game and your fourth game were above your weight class. You squandered an opportunity in your weight class by not being able to close it out with less than 30 seconds to go. Now you won one fighting up in class against an undefeated team and a team that made the playoffs last year. Now what you do is you're going back into your quote-unquote weight class, because you still are 1-3, and go take care of business. Go take care of business this week.
Yeah.
And remember,
what it comes down to.
It's not who you play. Sometimes it's when you play them. So
exactly.
We'll see what happens. All right, Carl, how do we like to end this thing?
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Believe in Giants.